help me help you start a business or a freelancing journey or some type of entrepreneurship journey in 2025. This is not going to be the glamorous stuff that you see on TikTok and the coffee shops and the manicures. This is going to be the very real tough love, no glamour, no, extra foo-foo tips on how to make this happen for yourself. It's that time of year, it's the new year. This is the time that we're all setting new goals and preparing to achieve them. And so you are fully in the driver's seat right now, and it is fully up to you on where you're going to be on January 2nd, 2026. Are you going to have a business? Are you going to be closer to having a business? Or are you going to be in the same exact spot that you were in this year? My name is Erica. I am a small business owner. I own a services-based business where I do project management consulting and marketing consulting. I'm going to start with a little bit about my background. So I grew up with a father who was an entrepreneur, and I watched him and I was obsessed with the fact that he had a business. I couldn't tell you why. This started when I was very, very young. In third grade, I got a fish for Christmas, like a little beta fish you get at PetSmart. And I named it Client because I would hear my dad talk about his clients. So if that's not some crazy manifesting that I was doing when I don't even know how old you are in third grade, but in third grade, then I don't know what is. In high school, I would have a study hall, or I went to a Catholic school, but I'm not religious. So during religion class, I would be doodling things in my notebook, like content plans, or I would be we had iPads. Well, you could bring in your own iPad, and I had an iPad, and I would bring it in and I would go through the Pinterest and pin business ideas and blogging ideas, and I knew that I wanted to do something with that. And when I got into college, the second semester of my freshman year, I realized that none of the degrees that I was really interested in were offered at my university, but all of my friends were there and I didn't want to leave. So I signed a random degree, and then I started to self-teach myself marketing. And 2 years later, I was cold calling around my college hometown, like walking into businesses and saying, hey, can I work for you for free in exchange for a portfolio piece? And in 2019, which was my senior year, I officially opened my business. And now it is my full-time gig. And I could not be happier with my life. I'm making six figures, and I have plans to grow even more rapidly this year. And it is because of habits and routines and mindsets and lifestyle changes that I made that I was able to make all of this happen. And so we're going to get into that a little bit today. I have some notes here because I don't want to forget anything, but we're going to start with habits and routines that kind of lend to each other, but we're going to start with just habits. So the first thing is daily movement. Now, this is something that you see everywhere, and there's a reason. There's literally science behind this. And it doesn't matter if your movement is stretching, if your movement is walking, if your movement is weightlifting or cycling. If you don't have the budget to pay for a class, don't pay for a class. If you want to do Pilates, do home Pilates. If you have a Wi-Fi or even a service connection, you're able to get internet, do a home Pilates. My mother is a Pilates teacher, and she posts videos on YouTube that are full. I do them all the time, Statly Pilates. There's Move with Nicole if you don't want to go through somebody that I know. There are so many different options out there for you to try. And it could be as simple as walking out your front door and going for a walk, or stretching in bed before you even get out of bed in the morning. Do some movement. The second habit you need to get into is taking action. So there's this thing with starting a business or starting any new venture, and it comes from the basis of fear, where you're really just you're not actually taking any action. You're just planning and you're organizing, and then you're planning some more, and then you're organizing some more. Cut the shit and start taking action right now. So that means that if you want to start a business and you're sitting there and you're typing up your business strategy, stop doing that. Figure out a way, whether it's for yourself, like post the video. If you want to do a UGC, content creation business, make the Upwork profile and start submitting proposals. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be pretty. You're going to have to refine your strategy as you go, but I will promise you that every single strategy that you write, if you're planning it before you take action, you're going to blow that strategy up in about a month because it's not going to work out exactly how you thought. Planning is good to a degree, but taking action is more important, especially when you're becoming a business owner. Eventually, you will hire somebody to do the planning, or you'll hire someone to do the action if you prefer to do the planning. But for right now, you need to get your business off the ground. So you need to get in the habit of taking action instead of planning. The third habit is to look at your goals constantly. So whether you like a vision board or you just want a sticky note up, have your goals up constantly. This is something that I started doing in the last 2 years is every day. I have like a pinned note on my phone and I would look at my yearly goals and then I would break those down into monthly objectives and I would just chase and continue to keep myself accountable to all of those goals. The more you look at them, the more likely they are to actually come to fruition because they're staring you in the face every day and it's a form of accountability. The fourth habit is to be intentional about every single thing you do. Everything you do has a purpose. Everything has a return. Whether you are, making a video, be intentional about the video. Don't just make the video to make the video. What is your purpose behind the video? What are you trying to get across? How are you going to do it? How are you going to do it to the best of your ability? Be intentional with everything from what you're creating to your business to how you're living your everyday life. When you're doing your movement habit in the mornings or whenever you do it, be intentional about that. If your hamstrings, if you chose stretching as your movement, be intentional. Really feel the stretch, lean into it. If you're choosing weightlifting, be intentional about your weightlifting. Everything you do throughout the day, do it with intention, and you're going to get 10 times more fulfillment out of that, which is going to help propel you forward through all these phases of entrepreneurship because you're going to hit hard times, you're going to hit burnout. But if you're moving with intention, it's almost impossible to fail. The fifth habit is to have an outlet. So this is like a passion project or a hobby of some sort. You need something that's not your business to come back to. So maybe it's your relationship, if you're in a relationship, maybe it's your dog or your cat, maybe it's coloring. I've been getting really into bullet journaling lately. That's a good outlet for me. Maybe it's reading fiction books. I don't think nonfiction can really count here. Maybe it's gaming. Some type of outlet that is completely separate from your work. This is going to help you keep your mind clear and draw lines between business reality and other reality. Because if the business becomes the epicenter of your life, you're going to become probably unhealthily obsessed with it. So having some type of outlet, maybe that doubles as your workout. Maybe that's, your one thing that's completely separate from your business. But have something that you can turn to when times get tough or when you start to burn out or if you're feeling very alone in this journey. The next habit is to absorb as much information as possible. Business owners, you have to be taking in as much advice as you can. Read books, listen to podcasts, listen to audiobooks, read newsletters, subscribe to email newsletters and actually read them. Seek out articles online. Go through your LinkedIn and follow people that are influential and that have done what you want to do. Learn from those people, look up opposing opinions, look up people that you don't agree with, and also read and absorb the information from them and then form a reason and an actual argument on why you don't agree with them. Expanding your brain like this is going to make you more eloquent when you're speaking in front of clients and when you're crafting your sales pitches. It's going to help you just feel more confident because you're going to be more knowledgeable. And being a business owner, you have to stay on top of what's going on in the world and in your industry in order to be successful. So that's a really important one that a lot of people overlook. The next habit is to constantly be developing new skills. So for example, when I started, I told you the story about my freshman year of college when I just signed a random degree and then I started learning. And almost every single month I was learning something new. I taught myself how to code. I taught myself SEO. I taught myself ads. Fast forward to 2023, I was teaching myself project management. I skilled up in project management. 2024, I was skilling myself up in like the financial pieces of business and the more like nitty-gritty pieces of running a business. And just scaling up my financial literacy in general, scaling up my political literacy. In 2025, I really want to learn more about schema markup, which is a very specific SEO skill. I want to learn more about recruiting and bringing on a team and managing a team. Continue to skill up. That is your most valuable asset as an entrepreneur and as a business owner. It doesn't necessarily have to be directly related to the service or the product that you're offering. Maybe if you're like a Shopify or like a Etsy owner, maybe you're getting new graphic design skills or new video editing skills, or you're figuring out how to create a new product and put in the market. Keep skilling up. That is what you are going to, when you trade that skill or that product or that knowledge for money, That's how you're going to keep it coming in and have a successful business. Next habit is to set goals, track goals, remain accountable to goals, and get really used to achieving goals. So this goes back to, I told you, like have your goals up all the time, have them somewhere that you can see them so you're constantly held accountable, but make little goals throughout your week that are really easy to hit. So for example, my planner, every single day I have a top three, top three, top three, top three. And they're not even like crazy. This one was to take my dog to the beach, go to the gym, and give myself grace. Little goals, because you need to get used to accomplishing and achieving goals. Other one, gym, set up my Christmas decoration, RSVP to a wedding, ad audit, workout, produce 2 pieces of content, cancel flight, go to the gym, adjust pet boarding, call my grandma. I don't know what that says because I crossed through it, but Thanksgiving week content plan, exit interview prep, networking lunch, 2 pieces of content, workout. What's today's? Today's is workout, write down 32 habits, which is part of a book I'm reading, and read 10 pages of my book. These little things, I've already achieved 2 of them because my workout I finished about 2 hours ago. Get used to achieving these things. Hold yourself accountable. The more you get used to achieving, the more you're actually going to shift your mindset to get used to chasing goals, going through the process, following through, and getting out to the other side. So you have to start small so you can win big. The last habit I have for you is to continue to go one step beyond what your competition is doing. So I wrote some examples here, but for example, if your to-do is to send 10 outreach emails, sorry, my cat's out here, to send 10 outreach emails to prospects today, you're sending 11. If your competitor on TikTok is posting 3 videos a day, you're posting 4 videos a day. How can you continue to show up just 1% more in every single facet? This is going to also help shift your brain from that planning and that autopilot into the doing and the action mode. And it's going to flip you from a doer to the producer, to the visionary, to the business owner. That's the flip that's really hard for people to make, especially when they're coming out of the corporate world or the agency world where it's like execute, execute, execute. And while you're still executing as a business owner, it has to be different. You have to flip that mindset. So these are little hacks and habits that will help you flip into that mindset. Okay, so now let's talk about routines. The first thing is that mornings are your time to win. So you have to give yourself time in the morning for just you. If you're a mother, if you have pets, this is still applicable. It might, new moms, I've never been a new mom, so I'm not going to speak on that. That might be where I give a little bit of grace here. But you need some time to focus on you before you jump back into work for the day. And this is essential because you have to keep your mind clear and yourself sane, because self-employment will make you feel like you're losing your mind sometimes, if not all the time. I recommend to use the morning to incorporate your movement and some mindset practice, whether you do meditation, whether you just do like a gratitude journal, whether you're habit stacking that and you're going for a walk without anything, like no headphones, nothing, you're just focusing on what's around you. That's great mindset practice. The second piece of a routine is to block your calendar and respect your calendar. So, for example, today, 5:30 to 7 was my morning routine block. From 7 to 8, I did revenue generation. From 8 to 12, I did billable client work. From 12 to 1, I did the dog park and lunch. From 1 to 2, I worked out. I'm now in my content creation block from 2 to 3:30. From 3:30 to 4, I have an intentional break. Notice I'm doing everything with intention. From 4 to 5, I have admin work. From 5 to 6, I have revenue generation. From 6 to 8, I'll do dinner, walk the dog. I have some like life to-dos, like I need to pick out a New Year's outfit because tomorrow's New Year's Eve. And then from 8 to 10, it's like R&R time, plan for tomorrow, make sure I do like a body shower, clean up the house a little bit, sit down and maybe do my bullet journal. If I haven't read my 10 pages yet, I can fit that in there. So I have some blocks built in there, but for example, if somebody hit me up and they're like, hey, I live in a beach town, do you want to go to the beach this afternoon? I would say, no, I can't this afternoon. Like, oh, my Wednesday's totally open though. That's New Year's Day, so I'm taking the day off. I could do it Wednesday. I'm not going to disrespect my calendar and move these things around. You have to take advantage of calendar blocking as a small business owner. And if you're in corporate right now and you're trying to make that jump, you can still be really intentional about that. It's a matter of looking at your calendar and being like, okay, like here's what I have to give to corporate. Here's my morning for myself. Here's where I have time. Here's where I have time. Build in those time blocks, respect those time blocks. That is probably going to be the hardest part of everything. And we'll get into that a little bit in the mindset section. Figure out how to silence the world when it's time for you to go heads down. I love the do not disturb feature on my phone. I use it all the time. I highly recommend you do the same. If your dog or your cat is a problem, maybe make sure that the cat has a little treat. My cat likes to eat a lot, so a little treat helps. I take the dog for a walk before. It's also really good for me, and then she sleeps, or I let her run in the park for a little bit and then she sleeps. So I can go full on, heads down, do not disturb on, only emergency contacts can get through, and I am pedal to the metal, silence the world. I have a job to do and I need to do it with intention. The next thing for routines is figuring out how to habit stack with your routine. So for example, part of my morning routine is to take my dog for a walk. While I do that, I'm also listening to an audiobook. So I'm ingesting information and I'm walking. I like to have my coffee and sit on the couch. It's something that just kind of like helps my mental a lot. So while I do that, I read the news every single morning. So I'm also taking in information while enjoying my coffee in like a very low stress environment. You could film short form talking videos while you're getting ready or while you're cooking dinner. You could drink your morning coffee and engage with your audience, respond to comments, post on your stories, kind of curate some content for the day. There's a lot of ways that you can habit stack things, and you could ask ChatGPT for ideas. You could look up ideas on TikTok or Pinterest. There's so many things that you can do. You can listen to an audiobook while you go grocery shopping. You can call a friend while you go grocery shopping instead of calling a friend while you're laying on your bed. You have to figure out how to maximize your time, and we're going to get into this a little bit in the mindset section. But as a business owner, you need to figure out a way to flip the switch in your mind that your time is money and your time is the only thing that you can monetize, truly. Yes, you're monetizing a product or a service or yourself, but you're using your time to do that. So you have to figure out how to give yourself more time to be a successful business owner. The next routine is having a money routine. This is really important, something that a lot of people overlook because it's not really glamorous as a business owner, especially when you're first starting out, because you're probably not making a lot. So the first thing is to have a payday routine or a budgeting routine. I do this every single Monday morning for an hour. I track my revenue, I track my expenses, what came in last week, what went out, where do I need to get myself in check, or am I doing a good job? How can I replicate this next month if I'm doing a good job, or next week? And then executing to the profit first method. So I would recommend, you can Google this, there's a whole website on it, but the premise of it is that you pay yourself first before paying your operating expenses, because that's the only way to keep your business profitable. If you're just giving yourself like $20 here and $20 there because you're covering all of the operating expenses, you need to have a check-in with yourself because your business is not actually being profitable. If you're not able to pay yourself, you're only able to cover your expenses, which is often the reality in the first couple of years because the business is rarely profitable in the first couple of years. You need to have a come to Jesus moment with yourself, even in the first couple of years, and figure out what's going on. Do I not have enough clients? Do not enough people know about my brand? Where can I close this gap? Figure that out, work that in, make a routine for it. Final thing for routine is to get smart about automating and process, The final tip in routines is to get smart about automating tasks and creating processes, repeatable processes to make things go by faster. This comes back to time is money. You got to train yourself into that mindset and figure out ways to automate things. Your most valuable asset is your time. It's always going to be that as a business owner. Okay, the last section of tips here is the mindset section. So I have a couple here. Being an entrepreneur, being a business owner is not for the weak. It's really hard and it's really fun at first and you're like on a high, and then shit gets real and you're like, oh wow, this is not as easy as I thought, and it's really lonely. Don't be afraid to ask people directly for support. Just tell them, be like, hey, I'm on this journey and I need you to not be a naysayer. I need you to be a supporter, and here's how I like to be supported. Be vulnerable in that way. It's going to make it so much easier on you because it gets real quiet. And in the same vein, if you feel like you're starting to get haters, that's actually a win. That means that you're starting to win. So use haters as long as you're not hurting anyone. If you're getting haters and you're really not doing anything to hurt anybody or offend anybody, then it's time to smile, because that means you're winning. But it is really hard and it does feel really lonely. My haters are often my silent haters, the people that I can feel preying on my downfall. Even though they don't outwardly say it, they show it through their actions and their maybe lack of words. And that is a very isolating feeling. So prepare yourself for that and build up your support system the best you can by being vulnerable. Seek and embrace feedback and criticism. Learn to love criticism. Learn to learn from criticism. Recognize and accept that failure is part of the process. You're going to fail many times. You're going to embarrass yourself. You're going to experience setbacks. It's part of the process. View it as an opportunity. Successful people don't see failure or hardship as a setback. They see it as an opportunity to get better, to take that as like a pogo stick and boost them to the next level. Determine your values early on and build your life and business around those values. For example, I don't work with jerks. I don't like mean people. I never have. So I don't surround myself in my circles with mean people, and I don't work with mean people. It's easier because if I work with a mean person, I'm probably going to go off on them. I'm going to lose a client, get a bad review, etc., etc. Avoid it altogether by just working within the alignment of your values. It will make your life 100 times easier. Have patience. Now, this doesn't mean to go slow and take your time. Yes, of course, take your time in certain ways. You don't want to rush through your work. You want high quality work. However, patience is more so you should be going at your goals at 110 miles an hour, but recognizing that you probably won't see the mountain move in 2 days. You might not see the mountain move in 2 months or 2 years. Patience while going 110 miles towards your goals at all times. And my final piece of mindset is that your win should be everyone's win. Remind yourself of why you started what you're doing constantly. This is something that will help you stay rooted through burnout, through all the lonely times, through all the hard times, and act like what you're doing has the potential to actually leave a mark and change the world. This is what moving with intention feels like. Constantly moving with intention, constantly moving with the best purpose of yourself and all the others at your heart. So every time I'm working and showing up, I'm thinking about my future family. I'm thinking about my current family. I'm thinking about how one day I want to provide for my parents and my brothers and my significant other and my pets and my future children. That is my duty. Every day I show up and I execute, and I do it for them. And yes, I do it for myself as well. But the big takeaway there is that when I win, it's also a win that's downstream for all these people. And maybe they don't see it right away. Maybe, they're not getting my paycheck at this time. But it's just one stepping stone closer to me being able to give back to all these people that I love so much. So your win is everyone else's win. Keep that at your center. Remind yourself of why you're doing what you're doing and act like it has the potential to change the world. So these are my habits, routines, and mindset hacks that will help you propel yourself towards being a successful and happy business owner. So it was a little intense, I know, but kind of wanted to lay it on heavy since it is the time of year. And if you're starting a business, drop a comment below with a link or something so I can just shout out and support you. Maybe we can all have a chat in like a Facebook group or something one day. Anyway, thank you for watching. Bye.